Good evening, Council. Morris Brown, Menlo Park, Stone Pine Lane. I want to talk about the item D7 on the consent calendar. The last study session of May 10th, where a lot of people wanted to come and speak, didn't start until 10:30, 3.5 hours after the council started to meet. Many people didn't show. And it's really, it just seems to me too bad that all of a sudden we're going to come forth now with an item on the consent calendar without further discussion of this resolution that has been drawn up by staff. Why would you put forth and take action on the consent calendar with no previous meeting that there has really been a discussion in detail of this resolution? Other cities have turned down such resolutions. Atherton turned it down. Burlingame actually had it on their agenda, and they have not taken any action yet, but at least they're bringing it out into the public as to whether or not they want to support something like this. And then the resolution itself. Look at item 2B. The development of high-speed rail system between San Jose and San Francisco is to be supported by this city council. I don't know that this council has ever made a policy on that. Have we made a policy that we're supporting high-speed rail along the corridor? In point of fact is the fact that we're involved in a lawsuit would seem to indicate at least we're open to it going via Altamont, which certainly would not take it all the way to San Jose along this corridor. So I think there are lots of things about this that just don't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. What does make sense is to kick high-speed rail off the Caltrain corridor and dissolve the MOU. But that's some other time. And then not finally, but funds for where's the money going to come from? Actually, Van Ark of the authority didn't even put the San Jose to San Francisco segment on the latest talk he gave at one of the meetings. We're not anywhere. All the other segments are there, but we're not. So there's no money except for the Central Valley right now. So why are we worrying too much about this? So my point is, now is not the time to take action on this resolution. The key part of the resolution, which was brought up by Kirsten Keith at the last meeting, actually, this business, are they going to study 4 tracks in the EIR? That is a key business. That's the difference between phased and blended thing. Simitian has made a big point about that. And the Attorney General the Van Ark was to go to the Attorney General and get a ruling on that. I talked to Senator Simitian on Sunday. To his knowledge, no ruling has yet been made. So this taking action today is really very, very premature. So in conclusion, just let me say, I urge you to table this item and then put it on an agenda, early in the agenda, thank you, where other people will be there, so they can be discussed in detail at the beginning of a later meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Morris.
Thank you.
Recused, and I will be back when you're done.
Enjoy the, it's probably cooler outside than it is in here. So.
And I, too, will be recused and be stepping out as well.
Okay.
So I pulled this because of Morris Brown's comments and also a letter that we received from Kathy Hamilton that made me take another look at this. And, well, I think we did work on this on the subcommittee. I thought with the addition of perhaps one word, we could address a couple of the concerns. I definitely struggled with the 2B section of the resolution because, and I asked Kent Steffens this question, is there anything about this statement that conflicts with our position on the program EIR, which we have in which we were involved in a lawsuit? So, and I'm thinking the way it's worded now, but I think in item 2C, it might be more clear if we say the development of a project-level environmental impact report for the possible San Jose and San Francisco segment that limits the scope, et cetera, et cetera. So just saying that it's possible, the inference there would be that we don't know what the segment is going to be until a proper completion of a program EIR.
So to say we support conceptually until we see the EIR, basically.
Kent, do you want to comment on that?
I'd certainly support that sort of a change. And I
while I don't think it conflicts, I think maybe it's a little more explicit with that change, that there still is some uncertainty about whether ultimately high-speed rail will come down the peninsula. So, that's the current plan of the authority. That plan could change at some point, and there still is pending litigation over that.
And I would also note that in 2B, it's lowercase h, lowercase s, lowercase r. It's not high-speed rail.
Right.
The project. So, for that reason, I'm comfortable with the wording with that one amendment.
Okay, Kirsten?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, and just maybe expanding it just to say for the possibility of a San Jose and San Francisco segment.
I'm fine with that. Or should we say San Jose to San Francisco segment?
Yeah. And I just wanted to make a few comments. I also spoke with Senator Simitian on Sunday, and I've also spoken with Pat Burt about this. And in Palo Alto, they did already pass a resolution for this. And I note that we are, we have a lobbyist that we share with Palo Alto, and so I just wanted to bring that up for the record.
We share them through December.
Right, we share, but I think more importantly that the stand that this city has taken is in line with Palo Alto's, and so it should be noted that Palo Alto already passed a resolution to this effect.
I think one of the key pieces of this is, without a doubt, the truncation of the scope of the EIR. And so I'm wondering, as we send this off to our legislators and include this in our briefing packet, so to speak, that it might help to make that point by having a very short letter from the mayor as an introduction, letter of transmittal, but making that point.
Making which point?
The point that very key to us here is the truncation of the EIR, of the scope of the EIR, to only, as stated in
The 4-track to 2-track?
4-track to 2-track, within the right-of-way.
I mean, I think that's fine. It's just a restatement of what they've already said and what we put in the resolution.
It is a restatement, but I think that's the point that most bears repeating, most bears emphasis.
Peter?
My only concern on 2B is that, so if you look at 2, the header says the City of Menlo-Park supports the key elements of the joint statement, including, and then B says the development of a high-speed rail system between San Jose and San Francisco, that is, et cetera. It's sort of a fast read and not a careful read might imply that we are supporting a high-speed rail system between San Jose and San Francisco. I'm wondering if it would be perhaps clearer if we said, change it to if a high-speed rail system is developed between San Jose and San Francisco, that it would be integrated with Caltrain. And then that way it's clear we're not supporting that, that aspect. So.
Just in comment to that, do we want to just add the word, the possible development, like we have with 2C, and keep
just
it
to make
consistent?
it, yeah, I think that would
That's good
would
with me.
help.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
So if we do a letter, an intro letter, it's a chance to do a couple of things. It's also a chance to bring up the concerns we have voiced in the past about other elements, which is the ridership and all these things that I think get lost. And to be honest with you, was part of, was not really in this resolution at all. I mean, and I know they view it as probably compartmentally, it's different, but I don't. I think it's all one project. So there's just any chance to reiterate these points. If we're going to have a cover letter, I would want to reiterate the sound ridership projections,
Business
things
plan.
that we've made.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we support this with the changes that we've made to 2B, the possible development, and then 2C, on the first line, after the word the possibility of a San Jose to San Francisco segment, and to include those things, the business plan and the ridership number issues, highlight that in the letter.
I'll second that. And then, Kirsten, in the letter, I think that key point of the letter is the importance of the truncation of the scope.
Yeah, that's fine.
We have a second? Okay. Okay, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.